Wow, 2024, what a year for surgical robotics and healthcare robotics. There's been so much going on. The big news, of course, was Da Vinci 5 and the amazing stuff that the team at Intuitive have done with Da Vinci 5. Great robot, and they are absolutely romping. But there's been multiple other companies out there that have got FDA clearances. Moon Surgical, DistalMotion, CMR Surgical, Momentis have got expanded indications. You've got virtual incision, you've got IDEs a go-go, so you've got Ottava. Finally, after all this time, Ottava has got the IDE going. So I think Q1 next year they'll be doing the first cases. You've got EndoQuest with their endoluminal robotics. There's just so much going on in this space, and I apologise if I've forgotten everybody. It's just my morning walk and I can't keep everything in my head. But I think it's been really, really exciting on many fronts. Another area that we've seen with huge expansion is the Chinese robots coming, and where also the Chinese robots have been leading by a long way, it's getting windy, is they have really been leading on the telesurgery, which I would have said a year ago, a bit bullshitty, not sure what the real purpose of that is. But teleproctoring, remote rescue, remote sensors in China and India, yeah, really big. So you've got Microport with Toumai, Kangduo, you've got SS Innovations with their Mantra 3, which has been very interesting to see that launch this year. I think that telesurgery is going to take off more and more, and it could potentially become a table stake within soft tissue surgical robotics. So I think that 2025 is going to be a really interesting year. I think it's going to be the year of whether we see if surgical robotics survives or not. So as I've said, Medtronic, J&J as strategics absolutely have to succeed. They have to succeed. If either of those two pulls out, fails, divests, decides that it's just not worth the investment, I think that the industry for competition is dead. Likewise, if all of the smaller companies, if we can't see traction, we can't see return on investment, and we see investors pull out of any of these companies, again, I think that it's going to be a death nail for the industry, and that is something that will, be so bad. So what I'm asking is, can we all support? I'm talking to surgeons here, hospital administrators, anybody. Can we please all support all of the other companies as much as possible and have a thriving ecosystem of very different systems, not just Intuitive. I love Intuitive to death. I think what they do is amazing, but I think it's also good for them to have a really strong competition and really strong people nipping at their heels, because it just helps to drive them as much as it helps to drive everybody else. But this is now going to be down to us as a community to give support to all of these other systems. And yes, we all know they don't have the same features, they don't have the same experience, they don't have the same instruments, they don't have the same years of clinical data. We know that. It's incumbent upon the entire healthcare community to give the other systems a chance, try them. Of course, you've got to have patience with it, but it's incumbent upon the companies to find the right customers. If your system is not quite finished, admit it, say it, but there will be customers out there who are willing to be pioneers, who will help you with it. We have to have support from both sides, sensible support from both sides, to make sure that this is an absolutely viable ecosystem as we go into 2025. And I think it's a make or break year this year. I'm going to talk with Joe Mullings and Ton Salemi on a device talks in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to talk about this. It's the make or break year. So if people want a thriving soft tissue surgical robotics ecosystem out there and not just Intuitive, then hospitals have got to take a risk. The administrators have got to take a risk. Some of the surgeons have got to take a risk. And I'm not talking about safety here. I'm talking about, helping these companies to just survive so that they can get to the next level of advanced energy and ICG and instruments, and get the regulations and the approvals through the FDA and through MDR. It's going to be really important that we don't give up on them, because, as I say, if several companies don't survive in 2025, I fear that it will be the end of any competition, and we will return to a monopoly of Intuitive for the next 10 to 15 years. I'd also reach out to the investment community as well, and I know that a lot of investors out there are saying, oh, we've pumped so much money into soft tissue surgical robotics and there's been no return. It's a long game nowadays. It's not a 5-year return, it's a 10, 15-year return, but the returns can be big. If you take just 10% of the market in the future, that'll be a $3 or $4 billion market, and there's not a lot of opportunities out there that are going to give you 3 or 4 billion sales in the next 10, 15 years. So, go after it, hunt after it. Don't give up on it. Definitely don't think that there is no return in the soft tissue market. The problem that we're going to have is that we end up with a load of what I would call half-pregnant companies. So companies that have done really well, they've got the clearances, they're out on the market, and now the investors just give up at the last hurdle as they go towards commercial growth, and they don't fuel that and they don't fund that. Then that is where all of these companies will end up sort of dying at the last hurdle, which would just be such a shame for our industry, because I think we're so close to have a lot of really good systems out there that give alternatives. I think we're going to talk about a lot this year again is segmentation. It's going to be the right robot for the right surgeon, for the right patient, in the right procedure, in the right location. And not one size will fit all. So basically what we want to do is we want to make sure that we all segment properly, including the hospitals and the healthcare workers and the surgeons, take the right tool for the right job at the right time in the right place. So I think it's been an amazing year for soft tissue surgical robotics in 2024. I think we've had a lot of advances, as I've said, but now in 2025 it's the make or break year, when everything has to come together, when we have to support these companies, when we have to make it happen. And I think it can be a really exciting 2025. We'll see a lot of companies, more companies getting FDA, more companies getting MDR. I'm expecting Hinatori this year to come through, and on my blog I've written a list of things that I expect in 2025. We're going to see new advanced energies, we're going to see new imaging modalities, we're going to see Storts with the Census acquisition start to really put that together. We're going to see endoluminal robotics, we're going to see endovascular robotics, we're going to see open systems like MMI. Those kind of systems for microsurgery are going to gain more and more traction over the next months, and I think that's going to be really exciting as well. And I also think that this year we really need to see traction by J&J with Ottava. We need to see what they're doing in their IDE, and it will be good to see more information coming out of them, because you need to give a signal to the market that you are coming, that it's working, that it's not going to be a false promise. Medtronic did a big review on them last year. I think there's lots that can be done with Hugo. A lot of it's going to be down to how you position Hugo, how to use Hugo, but they also have to do really, really well this year. I think if those two can gain some traction, if those two can show real progress in 2025, then I think that will also be a really good and positive sign for the industry. The Chinese robots, they've got to get traction outside of China. We've got to see traction in North Africa, we've got to see Europe, so people like Cash with Toumai, wishing you all the luck that you can have there. I think we're going to see some of the other systems like Ronovo with Carina. I think they're going to start to show up in places, and then also we're going to see things like virtual incision try and gain some more traction. Then you'll see DistalMotion, they are going to sort of find their space, and you're going to find that Moon Surgical will really have an impact on that sort of lap 2.0 and expect to see 2 or 3 systems come out that will be like Moon Surgical. These will be things that will really help to advance laparoscopy and straddle that thing from basic analog laparoscopy to fully digital laparoscopy. Those things are going to come heavy, hard and fast in 2025, so expect to see some new systems appear there as well. So vibrant time, good time, 2025, big make or break year. I really want us to have a great year. It's been 2024, it's been an amazing year, you know, for me personally as well with the blog, and I will be getting a lot more content out on that as well, so do go and follow me there. And if you've not been to the blog, it's howtostartupinmedtech.com/blog, and yeah, that's where you can find a lot of deep depth analysis and information in that space. So signing off from Soft Tissue Robotics for 2024. It's been an amazing journey together. Thank you very much for staying with me, and I really look forward to bringing you more insights, information, innovation, insider information, whatever I can get you to try and help us all as a community to keep building this soft tissue surgical robotics space, to keep going forwards, to make it a vibrant multi-robot space where you know, ultimately the thing that I care about most, there's 2 things that I really care about. One is that patients and hospitals get options, because I think that's good for everybody and we'll all be patients one day. And then the second thing is I want everybody in the community to really enjoy and love what they do, and success definitely brings a lot more enjoyment than when people are struggling. So I hope that 2025 will be an amazing year for all of you. See you then.